Ho, it's Irina here and welcome to Christmas special tutorial. All good holidays are approaching us like the New Year's and Christmas, and yet we are still doing our thing. We are going to enter the New Year's with Blender version 3.0 and I am inviting you to this free mini course about modeling Christmas muse. So grab your hot cup of coffee or tea and let's wrap this year with a new 3D character in our portfolio, shall we? Here we can see the splash screen for Blender version 3.0. So we are going to start. We are going to go to General. Here in our 3D viewport, we can see our default scene. We are going to select it and delete it. Then we are going to import the reference images that we provided for you in the description down below. We have modeled the character previously, and for the sake of this tutorial, we have made the reference images. So we are going to go here, add the images, Christmas muse. We are going to add to the front orthographic view this one. Then we are going to press 3 and add the second one. To the side, here we go. Okay, so you can see that those two are in the middle. Also, we are going to go here under object data properties and check this. So this is for the side one. We are going to add the both sides, and depth is going to set to the back. And also we are going to enable the perspective view so we can see it on the side, how it looks like. We're going to do the same thing here, and we are going to select the two of them, click this selectable to deselect them in the viewport. So now we are not going to be able to select them. Now we can start modeling the head. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to add a cube, scale the cube down, and onto that cube we are going to add a subdivision surface modifier, which we will increase the levels in viewport to 2, so the number of subdivisions. Then I will add a loop cut here with Ctrl R and delete the left side of the head. Then I will add a mirror modifier and pull it on top and allow clipping, so once I want to move it, it will be stationary in center. Now I will grab this down and extrude it upwards. Now I will grab these and align them perfectly with the head shape. So we are just going to follow the reference image. Now I'm going to extrude it down, and on the side we are going to rotate it. Grab it, see how it looks. Select these loop cuts on the sides, scale them inwards. Then we are going to select this part and scale it outwards. So now I'm just going to move a couple of vertices like so that we create a desired shape, as you can see right here. So I'm going to pull this up and pull this down. So we are going to make this part easier for us. Once I'm done modeling it, I will extrude it like this and extrude it one more time. So 2 times. Okay, once we are done, we will see how it looks like. You can see that it is a little bit off, so it is a little bit too much. So I'm going to go to the side, align better with the reference image. So you can see that I'm just moving the vertices along, and then here we are going to move these vertices and align them better. So I'm going to move these vertices so they go one by one to the bottom, like so. We can grab this part and voila! Here we have the head, and this part here also I'm going to move it a little bit up. Here we have it. Right click, shade smooth. If you don't want it to look like this, you can just grab this part in front and grab these inside. So now if I go out of edit mode, you can see a little bit, it looks a little bit squarish. So you can also insert the face here and change this boundary so it goes inside, and double J here to make it rounded. And guys, we are done with the head. We are just now going to scale it a little bit more and make sure that it follows the reference image better. Let's see, from the side, from the center, it looks good, and voila. Do you want to learn how to use Blender and become a good 3D artist? Why don't you check the Ultimate Blender Academy with over 80 courses inside? Check out our online academy, rendercraft.com. With a price same as Netflix, it's your choice. Should you watch a movie or create one? The link will be in the description down below. Now, let's go back to the video. So from the side, from the front, it looks amazing. Now we are going to focus on the body. So we are going to add a cube, scale it down, grab it down, and add a subdivision surface modifier. Increase the number of subdivisions to 2, and then add a mirror modifier onto it. So exactly the same procedure goes to the body as it goes to the head. So we are just going to add a subdivision and mirror modifier, and that is all. Now I'm going to grab these vertices and extrude them outwards. Once I did that, I am going to move this down, and on the top, I am going to add a circle. So loop tools, circle. If you don't have this add-on on, you can just go here under edit, under preferences, type down here loop, and the loop tools will come up right real quick. Now on the bottom, we will do the same thing, and we will add one more loop cut in the middle here. Also, I'm going to pull up the mirror modifier on top of the subdivision, and you can see that now we don't have any problems here. I'm going to move these vertices like so, like this. Awesome. And now we are going to add one more loop cut here for the hands. You can see how it looks like from the side. We are just going to grab it in y-axis and scale it in y-axis as well. Okay, now once we are there, we can just scale these vertices inside, but we are going to apply the mirror modifier in edit mode, so we can get the desired shape of the body as we want. So I'm going to scale this down and extrude it up and add one loop cut in the middle for its neck. So you can see how it looks right now. I'm going to grab these vertices on top, add one more loop cut, and scale it outwards. You can see how it looks like right now, and I'm going to follow the reference image as much as possible, like this. And this part, I will go inside. Awesome. Once we are done with that, we can just extrude the legs. I'm going to extrude 2 times, and then I'm going to press SZ0 to flatten it with the ground. You can see how it looks like. Once we did this, we can just add a circle. We could have done this previously, but we can also go back. This is the second option. So you can go and apply the subdivision surface modifier, but the number of subdivisions needs to be 1. So now I'm going to apply it. Then I'm going to select the feet, where the feet are. So these loops, I think that these will be enough. So these loops, right click, circle, you can see it here, rotate it all the way and extrude it down. Rotate, grab, and extrude it down. Now at the end, we are just going to press SZ0, enter, and we will have this flat part here. Also, this vertice and this vertice, we will scale them in y-axis so that we don't have any parts that go inside. And now once we are done, we can simply select the left side of the body, delete the vertices, add the mirror modifier, allow clipping like this, and add a subdivision surface modifier onto it. So you can see that now it follows along pretty nicely. And what you can do is you can grab these vertices, these loop cuts in y-axis. So GY, pull it to have a little bit of a tummy here. Also, what you can do is you can select the legs, scale them, and scale them in x-axis and grab them in x-axis. So I'm just following the right side of the body real quick. Awesome, guys. So now we are going to add the arms. So you can see that the arms connects here. So these are the points where the arms are going to be. So I'm going to circle them. Then I'm going to rotate to flatten them, grab them, and extrude them downwards, like so. Once I did that, I'm going to press 7, hide the head. Then I'm going to rotate here, extrude, grab, rotate. We can rotate this part a little bit more. Grab it inside. So you saw that the hands of our moose are a little bit behind him. So as if he is like some old guy. So we are just going to pull it down, rotate. Let's continue on with this part. So I'm just going to pull it, and we can add one more loop cut here and scale it up. You can see how he looks like. And also what you can do, if it's a little bit too much on the left side, you can just Alt and Shift. So I'm just going to press Alt and Shift, select all the edges, grab them here, scale them, and we can add one loop cut here in the middle of these to grab it up. So we are just going to align it better with the reference image. So I'm going to select these two and grab them in x-axis. If it's not okay here, we can just simply scale this loop cut here and make it a little bit better. Also, we can rotate it, and voila. Now at the end, I will select these vertices and press I to insert the face, and you can see how clean line we get here. Shade smooth, and voila. This is our character's body. And also for the neck part here, we can select the top, right click, circle. We can make it a circle like this, SZ0 to flatten it. And also do that with the rest of the loops that are combining to create the neck. Okay, so now Alt H, and we have the character's body done. Also, if you want to move these vertices, just press O or click here on proportional editing and grab this point inside. I think that I will select the neck part and grab it a little bit more to the center. Also, the chest point, I'm just going to pull it a little bit inside. You can see now how it looks. It's pretty fun. So now we are going to focus on the moose's horns. So we are going to add a cube. Exactly the same principle goes to modeling the horns as we did for the body and the head. So I'm just going to add it here, select it, everything, turn off the proportional editing, and now we are just going to start modeling it. So I'm going to leave one vertex here and one here, where the beginning of this one horn is. Then I'm going to rotate, and we are going to model out the top part, so the top horn, and we are going to align it perfectly with the reference image. So what are we using here is just extrude and scale, nothing else. So we are done with the first one, and now the second one. We are going to grab it here, scale it down, extrude it one more time. Now I'm going to align it better, like so. Grab it down, and this one here. Okay, now we are going to add the one loop cut here. Let's move these vertices up and rotate them so they follow along pretty, like so. Now on the side, you can see how they look like. We are just going to select the top and scale it outwards. Also, we are going to do the same thing here with these. Right click, shade smooth. And now what else we can do is we can a little bit make this part smaller. So might go. Okay, we're going to leave it as it is real quick. And now I'm going to add a mirror modifier. You can see what happened if I didn't apply location, rotation, and scale. to the object. And now you can see that from this pivot point here, it is going to be creating a horn inside of the head. So I'm going to pull the mirror modifier on top of the subdivision, and then I'm going to press in object mode, Control A or Command A if you're working on Mac. Select it, voila. Here we have it. And now I'm going to apply the mirror modifier, and then I'm going to hover above the left one, press L, rotate, grab it and put it right here. And voila, we are done with the horns, guys. And now we are going to focus on the head of the moose. So we are going to be adding a circle, scale it down, rotate it, put it where the head is, here. Now we are going to extrude it outwards, scale it, extrude, extrude, scale inside, and extrude and scale inside the beginning of the head, so you can see where the ending part of the vertices is. So this is the beginning. And also what else we can do is we can extrude this upwards and scale it inside. Once I add the subdivision surface modifier, it's going to look much prettier. And also we can add one loop cut here just for the fluffiness of this hat. So I'm going to shade smooth, and we are going to do the exactly same thing which we did with the horns and the rest of the body. We're just going to extrude, scale in X-ray mode. So you can see I'm going to add one loop cut here in the middle, extrude up, scale, extrude up, scale, and we will continue doing that to the rest of the hat. So now I'm going to select this circle here of vertices, press Shift S cursor to select it. Once I did that, I'm going to go here and add a UV sphere. Once I added a UV sphere, I will align it with the reference image here that I have. I will go into the edit mode and rotate it on the right side so that I make this line go inside of the hat. Then I will click anywhere here, go under select and select random. Once I did that, I will turn on proportional editing and scale it up, but I'm going to move the circle down so that I have this like shape. So now I'm going to add a subdivision surface modifier, right click shade smooth, and you can see now that it looks really nice. So now I'm going to add one more loop cut here, and you can see how this looks like right now. We're going to focus on the scarf. So I'm going to model the scarf using the curve, the path. So I'm going to align it perfectly here. Then I'm going to press 7, and real quick I'm going to hide the top half of the body. Then I'm going to select the NURBS path, and then I'm going to press 7. Onto this part now, I'm going to select everything and grab it in Y-axis. I'm now going to rotate the whole part here and create the scarf. So I'm going to extrude and scale, extrude and scale, extrude and grab. So we are just going to align it perfectly with the reference image here. I'm going to move this inside, inside, inside. Okay, let's press 7 and see real quick how it looks like. So I'm going to get these 2 points onto here and this one here. Awesome. So now it looks something like this. So now I'm going to grab this point down and align it better with the reference image. So you can see how it looks right now. I'm going to select everything and grab it a little bit down. Now I will do this part here. I will model it. We will extrude it down in the middle like that. Now I will go here under object data properties for the NURBS path, go into the you have this geometry tab, go down and play with this bevel depth. So I'm going to increase it all the way up and see how it looks like. So you can see that this part of the scarf is a little bit in the Y-axis. So I'm going to rotate it and grab it. And also I'm going to press I'm going to press Alt S to make it a little bit slimmer. Okay, let's grab this point here, and see how it looks like. Awesome. So now for this top part, I'm going to move it down, and when I add the head, you can see how it looks like. It looks pretty nice. Okay, I can change the resolution to a bit. I think that 2 is enough, or let's select a 1 and see if it's going to look good. Okay, so I'm going to add the resolution to 1, and then I'm going to go here under Object, Convert to Mesh. If I go now into the edit mode, you can see how it looks like. And also I didn't see this part here, so I'm just going to grab it up so that it doesn't show on the bottom, like so. Okay, so now it's good, and now we are just going to select this loop cut here, scale it in y-axis, and increase this circle so that it goes down. So we are just going to slim it a little bit here. Okay, now that we have it like this, I'm just going to fill the face, and we're not going to do anything else. We can just add a subdivision surface modifier onto it just to see how it looks like, and also we can scale it up if you are not satisfied. And now let's create the shorts for our character. We are simply going to select these vertices here, and we can select this loop cut by pressing Alt and Shift, and we're just going to press Shift D, P, separate by selection, scale it up. Let's select these vertices and grab them a little bit in the x-axis without the proportional editing. Now onto this, I'm just going to apply the mirror modifier, see how it looks like. Now here I will also move this whole part down, so SZ0. I will move it down and extrude it one more time in Z axis. Then I will rotate it, and it will look something like this. Once I did that, I will go here under Add the modifier and add a Solidify modifier. I will put the Solidify modifier on top of the subdivision. Then I will increase the thickness to 6 and change the offset to 0.1. Let's see how this looks like. Okay, let's increase the thickness a little bit more. Change the offset a little bit down. We can go inside here, change the pivot point to individual origins, scale it down. Let's see how this looks like on the side. We can select these vertices and grab them inside a little bit more. And voila, this is how I like it to be. We're going to create the moose's lights here, which he has on the horns. So I'm going to press Shift, right click, and then I am going to add a path. Onto that path, we want to create a light. So I'm going to add a cube, scale it down, add the subdivision surface modifier, increase the number of subdivisions to 2, add one loop cut here, select the top part of the cube, extrude up, scale it, extrude, scale inside, and extrude upwards and scale it inside. Also, you can play around with the way they look like. So I'm going to pull this down and change it a little bit. So this is my light, and I'm going to scale it down a little bit more, so it's going to be like this. I'm going to leave it at the center of the NURBS pad for now, and onto here I'm going to add a curve. Onto that curve, I'm going to add this NURBS path, so you can see where the beginning of the lights is, and then I'm going to add the array modifier, which I will put on top of the subdivision. Then I will play around with the count of the lights, change the offset a little bit like this, and we can also scale it a little bit more down like this. Then I'm going to select the NURBS path. I'm now going to grab it. Let's select it, leave it, let's press A, G, Y, and let's now create it. So I'm going to select these two, right click, subdivide. So I will have more of the NURB path to work with. And also I will move these vertices as well. So now I will leave these two down. So I will pull them down. Then I will grab these up, grab it in Y axis, grab this one in Y, and then in X. So basically I'm just trying to achieve that look from the reference image, and I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So now go into the edit mode and try to follow along this this part as much as possible. So I'm going to pull these down, pull this down as well, select this, put it on top, subdivide these two so that we get a little bit more control over these parts. I'm also going to select them, let's scale them a little bit more down and change the count to 11. It looks good like this. So I'm going to move these two vertices at front so that they don't go inside of the moose's head, like so. Let's move it down, and voila. So now I'm going to just select the bottom ones and grab them in Y-axis so that they go inside. You can see that this one doesn't look so good, which we are going to create right now. Once we are done with that, we can play with the offset a little bit more. Let's go back. Let's grab it inside a little bit more so that it goes inside. Now I'm going to apply the array modifier. Then I can simply go here 1 2 3 4 5 6. So the sixth one, 1 2 3 4 5 6, this one I will delete, and you can see now that it looks much better. And onto the NURBS path, I will go to the object properties, and then I will change the depth to, I don't know, let's see, 0.01, like this. And let's change this part as well here. So I'm going to subdivide it, grab it in front, and voila. It is going to look something like this. Okay, let's make sure that it doesn't go inside, like this. And voila. We can scale the rest as well. So like this. Awesome. And let's change the resolution to 3. Let's see how this looks like. We can bring it up a little bit more so that they go right on top of the NURBS path. So I'm just going to bring them down and see if they go inside. Yes, they go. So now I'm going to select these two and add the mirror modifier onto that. You can see that it is not going to work because we have the NURBS path on. This one is going to work, so I'm just going to add it here, mirror modifier, and put it on top. But first of all, we need to apply the curve. So Control A above it, and then add the mirror modifier on top. Control A, all transform. So you can see that they showed right here. Okay. Once they are there, I'm going to select the NURBS pad, go to Object, Convert to Mesh. Then I can simply mirror it, Control A, all transforms. So they are right here. So now I am just going to go into the edit mode. But first of all, we need to apply the mirror modifier. Now that we did, we can go into the edit mode. Let's select these two, Control J, connect them together. Then I'm just going to go into the X-ray mode, select those vertices, rotate them, but without the individual origins, we need one origin, so the media point. Now I'm going to just set it here and grab it inside of the horn, like this. This part here, I'm going to use the proportional editing to it, just to make sure that it goes inside, and like this. Awesome. And on the top here, we can do the same thing. So I can just bring it up here. Awesome. Now for this part here, we can select these and change the shape a little bit more, because you can see if we use the curve modifier, we can get some distorted parts. And for example, this one is a little bit too thin for us. So we're just going to scale it up, scale the bottom, and we are practically done, guys. At the back is going to look like this, but we don't need the back right now. So we are going to be adding a cube, but first of all, let's add the 3D cursor to the center with Shift C. Now we are just going to add a cube, scale it down, grab it here where the eye is, add the subdivision surface modifier, grab it up here, scale it in Y-axis, grab it, and align it with the eye. You can see how it looks right here. Now I'm going to scale it in Y-axis and scale it in X-axis so that it looks thinner. Now once I did that, I will select all of it with A and rotate it in Z-axis to make it a little bit out. So you can see how it looks like. Okay, once I did that, I will Control A and add the mirror modifier, like so. Then I will select it one more time, Shift D, duplicate it, scale it down all the way, scale it up, and add it right here. So I'm going to grab it outwards, rotate it inside, and this is the top part of the eye. Like so. Let's add it right here. Okay, so we are done with the eyes, and I'm just going to slightly rotate them in Z-axis and grab them inside a little bit more. Then onto here, I'm going to add a little bit more of a subdivision with the subdivision surface modifier. Let's put these two outside, and now we are going to create the eyebrows. I'm going to create the eyebrows with the cube as well. So I'm just going to add a subdivision surface modifier, scale it down, rotate, and grab it where the eyebrows are. So you can also make them with the NURBS path with the curve, but I think that it will look nicer once I do it like so, like this. Extrude, grab, extrude, rotate, extrude, rotate. And now we are just going to align them better. So I'm going to move these vertices like so. And we are going to curve the eyebrow a little bit. So you can see the way we are moving the vertices. I'm going to dissolve this one, so I'm going to have the exactly the same number of vertices and loops. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 both sides. So now I'm going to press Alt S to scale it a little bit down, select these two and press and go here to change the transform pivot point to individual origins and insert the faces inside. Now that we are done, we can see how it looks like. Okay, we are going to change the shape a little bit more. Awesome. And let's make it even smaller. Let's see, it goes right here, rotate, add it here, scale it a little bit more up, scale these two inside, and voila. Now I'm going to add the location, rotation, and scale, and I'm going to add the mirror modifier onto it. Now let's continue on with the snouts. So I am going to select the head, then I am going to add the subdivision surface modifier, but I'm going to increase the number of subdivisions only to 1, let's go and apply first of all the mirror modifier and then apply the subdivision modifier. Now here the snouts area, it's here. So I'm just going to do the first one and then the second one. I'm going to go here, loop tool, circle, and now let's scale it down and see where it is here. I'm going to extrude it inside, and then I'm going to add a subdivision surface modifier onto it. Now I'm going to, let's add one loop cut in the middle, and voila. So now I'm going to select the left side of the body, of the face, and add the mirror modifier one more time. Put the mirror modifier on top of the subdivision, select everything, allow clipping, and grab it so that it follows the reference image better. Now for the eyebrows, we want them to go inside. So I'm going to rotate them in Z-axis and pull them outside. So you can see how they look like. We can rotate them inside as well, like this, and right click, shade smooth. And voila, this is our character. We can grab the eyes and grab them a little bit closer to each other, I think. And also we can change the shape of this part. So I'm going to select it, scale it down a little bit more, and add it right here. Like this. Let's select the eyebrows, grab them, and align them here. Rotate them a little bit in Z-axis so that they go inside of the head. And voila. So guys, now we are ready to add the texture to our mousse. Materials, we are going to use Blender Kit Addon. This add-on you cannot find here under the preferences. You can download it, you can install it on their website, www.blenderkit.com, and you can download it to Blender version 3.0. So if you installed it, you can just type down Blender Kit and it will pop out. Just check this box and then you will have it there. So I'm going to go here under the Blender Kit. I will click on the materials and I will type down wool. Then I will unhide it, and here we have it. I will select the head and then I will click on it. Then I will select the body and I will click on it as well. You can see that here I have a problem. So I'm going to go in edit mode, select everything, and I don't want to mark the seams and unwrap it by myself. This is just a quick process of adding the materials, the textures from the Blender Kit. So I'm just going to press U, Smart UV Unwrap, and OK. And you will see if you go like this, you can see how it looks like. I will also change this here and make sure that it is in shader editor. And then here you can see this hue and saturation and multiply. This basically is controlling the color of the wool. So if I turn up the hue and saturation, nothing is happening. But okay, if I turn up the value, I can see the color of the wool. But I'm going to add a color ramp node and make sure that use node and is on. So now I'm going to change the dark part to brown. Make sure that it is brown, and let's darken it up a little bit. And this white one, I'm going to make it a little bit yellowish. So this is the undertone. So you can see how it looks. And my model here is a little bit, I don't know, I think that it is a little bit darker. So let me select it. Yeah, it is practically similar to it. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these vertices here and scale them a little bit in Z-axis. Okay, now we will focus on our jeans. So I will type here jeans. It will pop out, and make sure to save the copy of the Blender file. So I'm going to add this one, and also the same thing goes to here. I'm going to select it and press U and unwrap it. And also I'm going to add here the color ramp not the vertex color, but the color ramp, this one. And here I'm going to change it to red. So it's going to be reddish. And the undertone is going to be, I don't know, let's put red. So you can see how it looks, and it is the same on each side. Then we are going to focus on the horns. So for this one, I'm going to go here under animal, and we can just go here and select whichever pops up. So this one I like. Let me just zoom out so that you can see how it's named. This one. So I'm going to select it, and it is going to be on the horns. So we're going to wait a couple of seconds. You can see how it looks like, and I will press A and U unwrap. We need to add, subdivision surface modifier is on. Let's smart UV project them. And you can see now that it's pretty nice. Then for the hat here, I will use the materials. I will use the velvet. Let's select it. Let's add this red velvet to the hat. Then here I'm going to go to material settings, and I'm going to add one more new material that is going to be velvet. And I'm going to click here under the 2, click on it, so that I will be able now to go here and change the material to white. And then I'm going to go here. Let's go into the edit mode, select the bottom vertices and press Ctrl+. Ctrl+ all the way to this point here, and then I will assign it. So you can see now that we have a velvety look, like velvety bottom. Then I'm going to go also here and add the same material to it, to this part. Now for the eyes, I'm going to use the black material, the default one, black. And for the pupils inside, we're going to create a new material that is going to be white. Awesome. For the eyebrows, the same material goes to this one. Here we go. Then we are going to select the inside of the nostrils, these two. Press Ctrl+ to select the inside, and then I'm going to add the brown material. So I'm going to add the brown material. It's going to be like this one, but I'm going to make it a little bit lighter, like this. Also, I'm going to scale it a little bit inside because it is, I think, now it's fine. Let's make it a little bit darker. Awesome. Now for the for these, we are going to make a separate material. So for this one, we are going to select them, press 2 times plus, and then I'm going to add a green material only and assign it to this part. Let's make it a little bit lighter. Okay, now like this. Let's make it a little bit lighter even more. And let's go into the edit mode and press Alt-S to make it a little bit thinner. Awesome. Now for the lights, we are going to select them by hovering above the lights and pressing L key on the keyboard. Onto these here as well. We can also join them, but I don't want to join them right now. And I'm going to create a new material. And here where the nodes are in the shader editor, I'm going to delete the principal BSDF. So this node, I'm going to press X and delete it. And now I'm going to add, with Shift and A, I'm going to add the emission. What it does, if I connect it here, I can make it look shiny. So I can make it basically light up. So I'm going to change the strength to increase the strength. Let's see how they look like. Awesome. You can even more increase the strength, or you can make it a little bit lighter, like this. So you can see now how they look like. For the scarf, we can select each and every second, I think. Let's see. We can press Alt and Shift and select the loops that we want to be red. Okay, now that we are here, we are going to add a new material, a new velvet material if you want. And we can make it, I don't know, let's see. let's see with this velvet gray how it will look like. Yeah, so I will add two materials onto this one. I will add, I don't know, reddish material, and then we will change it. For this one, we will add the gray, velvet gray, and in shader editor, we can change the color of it. So I'm going to add the green, and also we are going to change this velvet to this red material to velvet green as well. And then change this to 2 and make it red. Let's see. We are done with the model. This year was special in many ways. We just got Blender 3.0 with its amazing geometry node system and interesting news that Facebook announced about Metaverse and VR. I'm so excited about the next year and where our 3D journey will take us to. Until the next time, bye!